Imagine this. You're a young Latina navigating your way through life, exposed to nightlife and music at an early age. You find your passion at the intersection of these two verticals and quickly became a go-to publicist in entertainment. With a growing network, you expand into the cannabis space as an influencer and connoisseur, honing in on your personal brand. Our guest today will share with us how she established herself in a male-dominated industry and became a force to be reckoned with. This is The Plug. People lending us game.
I am the plug. I am the plug. I am the plug. I am the plug.
Welcome. This is The Plug. We're your hosts. I'm Henry Crockett.
I'm Dria B.
I am Nick Beam.
And this is episode 3. This is episode 3, and we're excited to be able to tell our audience about all the good things we got going on. Obviously, we have a special guest today.
That's right.
And normally we would leave it up for a surprise, but it's Dria.
Yay! That's right.
But also, though, y'all, I'm so excited. I love y'all, and I love all of us sharing our stories. But I'm so excited to start getting some of these plugs in here, some of these guests in here. Because we all got some crazy, amazing big networks. And I feel like what's coming next for our audience is just going to be on a whole other level.
It should be fun.
But this next one, though, specifically, all the stories.
Oh, absolutely.
All the stories.
Well,
from Miami to here to everywhere.
Word. Okay. I respect that. I mean, we had to conclude the 3-host segment.
For sure. People had to know who we are.
They had to know who we are, why we...
But now I'm really glad to get into, like, the thick of it.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I mean, you know, they still had to know that we the plug, too. We have some plugs.
And why? And why we're the plug, I would like to think.
For sure.
This guy.
All the whys.
Right.
All right, so what you got?
I've got Nick Beam, because he's got our Buzz in the City.
Okay, my bad. Well, what do you have going on?
Well, check it out. The Buzz in the City happens to be the same as Flow and Friction.
Okay.
When at 420 right around the corner.
Favorite holiday?
Got the lights green.
Favorite holiday? What?
What's 420?
Is he
you don't know what 420 is?
Well, I mean,
you're
for
joking,
me,
right?
No, not jokes, no jokes. See, for me, right?
Now we gonna get a story.
I played a Madden game one time, and shout out Alex Sobavaro, but I beat him one time 42-0, and I posted that everywhere, and I got in trouble because they thought we were promoting marijuana at the dealership.
Okay, well, no one is talking about your Madden score.
You're right.
And this is an international holiday about a beautiful plant called marijuana.
That's right, cannabis.
Such a beautiful
with
word.
420 right around the corner, we're definitely going to be celebrating that. But it looks like our journals in Las Vegas are publishing that there's a law that's passed where they're going to allow lounges.
I love it.
Yes.
It should have been doing that.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. But specifically, the main reason I feel like, I mean, there's not a lot of information on it yet, other tthan the bill being passed and like it's going to go through. But I just love that there's finally going to be what they call a safe space for us to consume.
Right.
Because it's like, even though it's legal, you still feel just weird because you can't pull it out in the casino. You can't pull your pen out. You can't smoke, whatever. So then it's like you're still doing that weird, like, let me go off to the side and get, have a, like I'm doing something wrong, but it's legal. It feels weird. It's like, open the lounges, let us enjoy the vice. You let us enjoy alcohol, which to me is like even more crazy than weed. So it's about time.
Well, I mean, last year, like right when the pandemic hit, they announced that they were planning to let lounges happen.
Right.
They just needed to figure out proximities.
Yeah.
So they stated that it couldn't be near casinos.
Right.
It couldn't be near churches.
Right.
And it couldn't be near schools.
Right.
So I'm super curious to know, did they get a little laxed on the law? Can they be closer to the casinos and the strip? Or does those rules still apply?
Well, I'm curious to know too, because they definitely said like dispensaries were chiming in. Obviously, that no one's come out with like official facts about it yet, but the dispensaries were chiming in because they were all excited right away about being able to put a lounge within their dispensary so that you can smoke on site.
Right.
Where the dispensaries are, which are far away from casino. I think there's one that is technically on the strip, but away from casinos and churches and stuff. So I feel like they are gonna open that up to where, as long as you're not like in the casino doing it everywhere, but it has its own separate venue.
Right.
But what have you been hearing? Because you've been out on the streets looking at venues. So.
Well, you know, my
Businessman
brain was spinning while we were having this conversation. Number one, I don't know if I could relate much with the smoking weed piece. So, I mean, for me, it seems a little different. I had a question on the other side, like, will there be like an under the influence like limit that you have to worry about when it comes to consumer?
Well, they have that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you can't smoke and drive. You can't, you know what I mean? You have certain levels that you can't operate machinery with and things like that. So I feel like they'll probably have that kind of situation. But they don't cut you off. I mean, it's at the owner's discretion even with alcohol, whether they cut you off or not. So I'm going to assume that's going to be, if you're falling asleep on the couch, they'll probably be like, no more.
Well, my biggest thing is this. Anybody that comes to Las Vegas usually comes to the Strip, right?
Right.
Hear me out on this one. The Strip, or Las Vegas in general, has much more to offer.
Right.
If they allow the things to be spread out.
Right.
So I'm all for it not being on the Strip. I just feel like there should be some other areas in Las Vegas that people could really go and appreciate. You know, like imagine if Midtown, near downtown old Las Vegas area, was New Amsterdam kind of feel and vibe. Coffee shops and cannabis, just all up and down Midtown. I'm giving y'all game. Don't nobody steal my idea. But no, seriously, like that would be dope, because then it's like, all right, you got the Strip where I can go hang out, I can gamble, you know, I could enjoy whatever the Strip has to offer, or everything the Strip has to offer, and then I can go to this little area over here and do my coffee and weed thing. I think it works because it just like cluttering everything onto the Strip. Don't get me wrong, if somehow they work this out on the Strip, I'm all for it. But I wouldn't want everybody to get hung up in the idea that it won't be successful if it's not on the Strip.
Right. I agree
because
with
Las
you on
Vegas
that.
is growing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think it would be successful either way, but I also don't think that they should limit to the Strip or like only being off the Strip, because I feel like I'm allowed to do my other vices that are legal on the Strip, you know what I mean? So why can't I smoke? And there's some people that, me specifically, I would prefer to smoke my pen than drink. Right. And if it's a money thing, well, if you open it up and you're selling on the Strip as well, then you're still gonna make your money, even if I don't buy the drink. You know what I mean? So I feel like let us smoke our pen.
No, I think I agree with it though, because the thing is like more smoking on the Strip means more restaurants is gonna get business.
Oh yeah, then food lines are gonna
be crazy. So you know the weed.
So buy a restaurant too while you at it.
Well, what I was gonna say is, don't mind me. I'm just on Realtor.com, looking for a new space, maybe for my new marijuana lounge coming soon.
Oh Lord, this guy. But yeah, so I mean that's a big buzz in the city. Okay. And then on the Flow and Friction, this is actually one of your secondary hometowns. My third hometown is New York is passing a bill to legalize marijuana.
Oh, okay.
And I thought
New York is gonna be lit in every sense of the word.
Listen, I thought that would be a perfect opportunity to talk to you about this, because this is a space that you're in. Yeah. We're gonna talk about this a little later in the show. But boom, out of nowhere, New York gets the bill passed to do recreational marijuana.
It's huge. My only thing though is that and this time that the cannabis community and like criminal reform are gonna have to keep fighting on. Right. Is that's dope. That's super dope. But
pun intended.
All the pun intended. But I say that to say that like you also still have people that are locked up over this plant. You have people that have legitimate felonies that can't get normal jobs off of this plant. Yep. So while I love that, they also need to overturn all of that as well.
They got a whole lot of fucking work to do.
Yeah, a lot. There's a great start, but New York has a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
Among other cities too, not just New York, the country, when it comes to that.
But I mean, I think the biggest thing too, and just the environment in New York is the energy that New York has. I think this is amazing. Yeah, they definitely have to start letting people off. And you know, I got a little excited because there's people that are still locked up over the plant. And the plant hasn't really harmed anybody.
Right,
exactly. People aren't harming each other off marijuana. You know, so I think that definitely brings another energy to New York that is going to be dope, because anyone that's been to the city knows there's so many different pockets. Yeah. You know, you got Meatpacking, you got Soho, you got Upper East Side, you got Lower East Side, Harlem, you got all these different boroughs. You got all these different spaces, Chelsea, you know, Wall Street area, downtown district, like
Yeah, it's real.
all of these places literally are popping.
Yeah.
You know, so you put marijuana in the space, not only does it generate revenue for the city, because we all know marijuana did wonders for Colorado. You know,
And Washington.
It's gonna do numbers for us for sure, and we need it specifically because we're a tourist town.
Right.
You know, so putting more layers to our economy only boosts tourism, in my opinion.
For sure.
So the
But I
fact
feel
that,
like, not to cut you off, but I
you
feel
good?
like but back to like what I was saying specifically about like letting them on and off of their convictions and things like that is, and I think it is Vegas that specifically has gone out and said that they're gonna do an equity program as a part of the lounges and things like that, to be able to make sure that the people that did have to serve time or are still locked up, that they get off, and they're also able to get jobs in the cannabis space.
Absolutely.
And why not? Because they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like what kind of frustrated me about the New York one was that, you know, you are heavily a Black and brown community that was heavily who was targeted with all these charges. So why are you not a leader in coming out and saying that? So I hope they change their tune. I hope they come out with that more. But I was really proud of Las Vegas for coming out the gate. Like, we want the equity side of it. We want to make sure that the people that were affected by the charges from this plant, that they have solid jobs, and they're the first choice, you know, to get these jobs in cannabis. So I think it's cool.
Now we'll have people over there at the airport with some weed bags saying, "This one goes out to you, and you."
He's been waiting.
And you.
He's been waiting. So you might as well segue into what that's about. Go ahead.
Well, I mean,
The next topic.
this goes back to the buzz in the city.
I did it, shorty.
Usher.
God,
It's been reported. Usher has been reported passing around fake bills with his face on them, $100 bills. He was quoted, or he was noted. They seen him in Spirit at Rhino.
Okay.
And they seen him in Sapphire.
Was it like a publicity stunt? Like, did he do this on purpose to like?
They reported
Okay.
that it's for his residency, so he's promoting for his residency.
Publicity stunt.
Yeah, it's a publicity stunt.
Okay.
But they say he spent thousands on the girls.
Right.
But just like that was the show, was him to do something like that.
I mean,
Like, don't you think someone should have known, though? Like, I mean, come on now. Like, if I showed up tomorrow with some Henry dollars
oh Lord.
into the Rhino
It's gonna come.
and started spending, like, don't you think that should have been explained? Like, I think the dancers would have probably been informed. Somebody has to have an idea. Like, if I walk away with
the whole point of a
2,000 Usher dollars for a lap dance and I go home with nothing, I might be a little upset. Well, pause, because Usher ain't getting no lap dances.
Wait, but
over
my
here.
question though is, well, one thing,
Super
it's like
pause.
mad dark in there, so like I'm pretty sure they're just collecting and like not really until they get backstage or wherever they're going. Like, so they're not even, I don't think they're necessarily looking at that moment on what's going on. They're just collecting whatever and keeping it pushing. They're working.
That's my point.
One, but two, I also feel like he absolutely, like, no one should have said nothing. That's the whole point of a publicity stunt, is to, y'all ain't in the know. I know what I'm gonna do to make a scene, and y'all gonna react to it, and then you're gonna remember this when I have my residency. So I'm not mad at him for it, unless the girls didn't get paid, because pay your strippers and bartenders and everybody in the service industry.
Yeah, pay your work. And do
Yeah.
But I thought someone was reading that where the owner made a comment that
They said he was gonna come back and like make it right, make everything right, and
Well, I mean,
before, prior to his
if it was a
residency.
publicity stunt, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good stunt. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great stunt. It got our attention here at the plug.
Right.
You know, it got TMZ and whoever else, all the blogs.
People
talking
gonna
about
be
it.
remembering talking about his residency until it happens.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. So I think it was a great PR move. You know, because that's the thing.
Agree.
He got the residency right when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So it was almost like people forgot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna front. I forgot for a slight second
Me
that
too.
Usher was about to be a resident.
Because we also didn't know when it was going to happen.
Right,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right,
It was
right.
like things kept pushed back, and the pandemic, and so.
But
So
yeah.
Do you guys think he had to like call and say, "I have a confession"?
I think it's about time for a drink.
It's definitely about
Right?
time for a drink.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the show, drink for Dria coming up.
Yeah.
So happy I got to come up out my jacket.
Oh, jeez. We have a singer and a stripper.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
It's not working? No? All right. Well,
Cut the camera.
let's get a drink.
Bye.
drinks.
Okay.
I like that idea.
And the reason why I like this guest is because he's going to bring some energy, some flair, some...
Oh, he's gonna have fun with me,
That-
unlike some people.
Man, the Ric Flair drip is how I would like to define it.
Oh, wait, let me get you guys' drinks first and y'all can go back to the couch.
All
Okay,
right.
perfect.
She's going to be surprised when she sees the guest, bro.
Okay.
Here you go.
I'm excited about my drink.
Of course you are.
Well,
No,
you're
I-
matching with me, so go ahead and let's cheers me up.
Cheers, brother.
Let's go grab the guest.
right.
You'll be excited.
I am excited. I'm excited. We excited. Oh, hi. I know this guest. What you mean a surprise? Like, I don't know who this is.
What's up, boo?
Hi, boo.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Plug, gang.
Hey.
Plug game. Okay, so what are we doing today?
Well, if y'all don't know, this is Valentino. He is the face of Blume. If you come to Blume, you will see all of this fabulousness.
Come on.
And he be everywhere and anywhere. You are officially a plug, for sure.
I mean, I put the kids on to some new games, so we're on the plug. So I want to plug you guys onto a drink that everybody comes to Blume and drink. It is the Valentino.3. It's my drink of the building.
Ooh.
Cardi B drunk it on her birthday. Little Baby comes and drinks it. James Harden drinks it. I mean, I just think it's time for the drink, correct?
Let's go. I need to see this.
Let's do it.
I need to see it. Got your own bartender here. You got you.
I mean-
you are hooked up.
I mean,
I need
the
your
plug.
life.
No, cut it out. The plug. Cut it out.
Oh wow.
So I'm gonna actually present it. Are you gonna present it?
Okay.
I want to present it to her, you know, because I'm on the plug,
You are.
and I always present it to my beautiful ladies.
Ooh. The aesthetics, the dramatic
I mean,
effects.
come on.
Come on, how do you
The
not want this?
zha-zha of it
the
all.
zha.
The
The
zha-zha of
zhuzh.
it all.
I'm here.
Okay, that is the Valentino 3.
It is so
Thank you so
pretty.
much, handsome.
Tell me, okay, so walk me through the drink. What is it? Why is this Valentino? Why is this you in a cup?
Okay, so this is me in a cup because I love tequila. So I really wanted Casamigos in it. I wanted a little blue carousel. I wanted
Yes.
pineapple juice. I wanted 14 karat gold. I wanted it to be in a martini glass so when women with nice nails carry the drink, you're like, oh my God, this drink looks so expensive. It looks so good. So
Yes.
this is why this is the Valentino. Like, I feel like when I walk into a room, I give you a little smoke presentation.
Yes.
You get a little gold, little jewelry. And I mean, we're plugged in. I mean, come on, you're in Blume with the plug. So let's do it.
Absolutely. I gotta, before I run this back to the couch, because they gotta see all of this.
Okay.
But before I do, I wanna tease the audience a little bit because this is not gonna be the first time you see Valentino running up onto the plug. We've got some special surprises coming up. So remember this whole situation right here,
I'll be back.
because he be back.
Just know that. I will be back. I'm gonna be plugging you guys. I'm gonna let y'all see some. Anyway.
Yes. Day in the life of this
Stay
one.
tuned in. Stay tuned in. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
I love you.
I love you. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye, boo.
All right, guys, I just got back from the bar with Valentino. Thank you for this special guest.
No
Word.
problem, no problem.
But I also teased our audience that we're gonna see him pop up a little bit more in our show and maybe on our social pages.
I'm looking forward to that. I think Valentino's going to bring a lot of entertainment per
Right.
se.
Energy is the energy.
A lot of
for
high
me.
energy, very high energy guy.
Shout out Valentino.
I love
Everybody's
you.
going to search him on Instagram once
That's
he's
right.
on there.
Yeah, and we'll take him in this episode so everyone can go follow him too, because he's gonna be sharing our content as well.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Looking
Perfect.
forward to
Perfect.
it. Looking
Now
forward
I
to
can
it.
finally drink my drink.
I know, right?
Cheers.
Toast to
Yeah, we
that.
had to skirt out of here.
I know,
Let
y'all.
you and Valentino do your thing.
He made the bombest drink. Like his little smoke Valentino aesthetics, as Nick would say.
Aesthetics, right?
It was
That's
amazing.
That's highly requested.
Right.
Every time people come to Blume,
That's
right?
what he was naming off. He was like Cardi and Baby and like all these people.
Yeah, it's a
they
thing.
requested.
Yeah.
It's Instagrammable though. Like I get it. Even if they don't
Yeah.
want to drink it, like it's just
Facts.
looks great.
That's a fact.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Valentino on here,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
And I've been in here a few times when they actually are putting this drink out, and all the audience seems to love it. Everybody
It's a
in here.
showstopper.
Yeah, for sure. And then
Word.
Valentino's entertaining when he does it all and gives you the whipping smoke.
Mm-hmm.
It's a move. But
Word.
Him-
But it's not about Valentino, though.
Definitely.
It's about official Dria B. We got her on the couch right now.
Welcome
in
to
the hot seat.
Welcome.
Wow, did you guys rehearse this? Welcome to the hot seat.
Hey, man.
We
I feel like
just
they've
know
been plotting this on me for this.
we've been excited to get Dria B on the set and ask some questions.
Absolutely. I mean, we got you on the first episode, me in the second one, so now we got you on the third one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, capping off the host segment of,
Yes.
plug. So, what I want to know, because you wear many different hats, right? Mm-hmm. We got to go backwards. We always got to go backwards to the beginning. You know, we obviously started the Drinks with Dria segment.
Yes.
And that highlighted your background in, you know, bartending.
Yeah.
So when did you pick up the skill of bartending?
Honestly, I mean, I'd always been in the nightlife scene in Seattle when I was there, so underage, but whatever.
Okay.
But they had like underage clubs and things like that, and then obviously I moved into ranks as I got into college. But so that was always a part of. So obviously I saw the bartenders when I got into the 21 and Up club. I was like, okay, that's where the money's at.
Right.
Like honestly, that's. I mean, outside of it's different in Vegas, but in other cities, it's really the bartenders
smaller towns,
that are making that money.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was actually at the time, my boyfriend at the time, he was also looking to get into the space. So we took bartending classes together.
Word.
And I got my license. And then I went to college, so there wasn't really clubs at my college.
Right.
I went to Central Washington University. Shout out
Okay.
to them. But but I say that to say that there was a lot of bars. So I was able to kind of like hone in my skills there, and no one was really judgy because it wasn't like super refined establishment.
Right.
So it was just how quickly you
Party
could make
time.
a vodka and soda, pretty much.
For real. Definitely get some well drinks.
Yeah, the wells were popping.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
Okay.
as an adult, now it's like, oh, what top shelf can I get?
Oh, yeah.
Back then it was like, how much can I get for $10?
Oh yeah, definitely. Did y'all have a Thirsty Thursdays?
Yeah, oh, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody had a Thirsty Thursdays at their
yeah.
school. So
Yeah.
cheap drinks. Oh yeah, we
I didn't
Oh, yeah.
have Thirsty Thursdays.
Okay.
we definitely
Well,
had
we
Thirsty
did.
Thursdays for sure. So
And you had the, what was it, Incredible Hulks and the Long Islands. Yeah.
yeah, definitely Long Island's Incredible Hawks. Yeah, they ended up coming a little later once
Yeah.
Fab and them
Yeah.
made it
yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
You know, so Thirsty Thursdays definitely had my share of well drinks at BGSU. Anyway.
Like, how did our liver survive that is what I want to know.
I know. Yeah, that's wild. So, all right. So you started bartending. You said that segued you into entertainment because you have a big entertainment background. I mean, that's what we want to know.
Yeah.
Is your origins in entertainment?
Sure.
You know, and obviously some of the many things that you're working on
Yeah.
as of late, aside from the show. But yeah, so you started bartending from high school to college.
Yeah, high school.
Okay,
and
high
college.
school to college, and then what was your opportunity in entertainment?
So, I mean, I'd always wanted to be in entertainment, specifically music. I used to sing. I have an ear for music. So that was just always my thing. I just didn't know where I was going to land within the industry. I thought I was going to be an artist. I quickly found out that me performing in front of people was not my thing.
Okay.
Very nervous, very just that it was not working well for me. So, but I still had the passion for the industry. And I was like, well, it was almost like if I can't do it myself, then I'm going to shine other people that can, you know,
Right.
and do it that way behind the scenes. So that was like my mindset. But my first opportunity with entertainment was actually, I guess, in sports through Floyd Mayweather.
Word. Okay.
Shout out the money team.
Yes, the money team and Floyd. Much love to Floyd. So I got an opportunity just through friends that had known the money team, got connected, and was able to end up moving out here after college to pursue that, but also I knew this was like a huge entertainment capital.
Absolutely.
Nightlife background, me, and then nightlife here. So I felt like I had something to bring and then also something to gain on both sides. So that's what got me here the first time.
So Floyd got a chance to work with the champ, you know?
Yeah.
That's gotta be interesting time, right?
Oh my God. I mean, it's everything you think of, but then maximized because you're living it in real life.
Right.
So one thing I will say about him is that he is exactly what he gives you in front of anyone else. I would not call him fake. I would call him the most realist person and lives up to exactly what he is. He's Money Mayweather.
Money Mayweather. That's real.
Now, working in that atmosphere, obviously, I mean, because that's branding at its finest, because that was kind of a self-influenced brand. It was him.
Yeah.
The money team and that brand. Like, what kind of experience do you think that brought to the table of what you learned overall?
Well, I think the first thing that I didn't know, and maybe a lot of people don't know, is that there's two separate entities when you're talking about him and his brand.
Okay.
There's the money team, which is the personal brand. That's Floyd. That's Money Mayweather out of the ring. And then there's Mayweather Promotions, which is all sports and boxing heavy and extremely corporate in that sense,
Right.
and handles their business. Not that the other team doesn't, but that's the more fun side, right? That's the more like, you know, seeing them out at events and whatever. This one is like about the boxers, about the boxers coming up underneath him. At the time, when he was fighting, doing all of that, those promotions, and that's the side I got to learn. And I didn't understand the boxing world outside of just watching fights on pay-per-view. So that to me was like a crash course in how that industry works, branding in that industry, what it means for the boxers in and out of the ring, the rules and regulations. There were so many that I didn't even know about. So it was a huge learning curve, and all within a year. So it was like a crash course. For sure.
And he's got some good fighters on that promotion
Oh,
team
yeah,
right now.
you do.
They're doing a good job, and he gets some big time fights quick. So
Yeah,
I guess being Floyd Mayweather, you got those details. But
for sure.
something made you leave Vegas, from what I recall.
Yeah, what made you leave Vegas? Because it seemed like everything was working for you here. Why would you leave?
Well, I ended up, after that, I ended up going to Curve and Doak, which is the biggest communications firm here in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I honed in on my public relations skills, comms, social media, a little bit digital. So that was kind of my next big move, and kind of in the city. And they really do handle, in terms of communications, nearly every property, every major nightclub. All the main entertainment shows, Cirque du Soleil, they had Wynn and Le Rev, when Le Rev was open. So I got amazing experiences over the 2.5 years that I worked there. What made me want to leave was that I still had that like dying urge to help the music industry and to be a part of that. I was still listening to music on the side, kind of playing in the A&R space, with indie artists, outside of doing, my 9 to 5. And I just felt like it was my dream, and I felt like if I didn't go after it, I would regret it later on somewhere in life.
Absolutely.
Even if it didn't work, I knew all the risks moving to LA, expensive city, an industry that is extremely tough to break into, doesn't always become lucrative right away. All those things I factored in, but it was really just more for me following a dream that I had since before college and really seeing it through. So that's what took me through another communications opportunity to Los Angeles.
Oh, word.
LA.
So now you're in LA, City of Angels.
Yeah.
So what are you doing there? Can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah. Look, I'm super transparent when it comes to my story. It was rough. And the first 6 months in, the communications company that did specialize in music decided to turn all to tech-based communications, no more talent representation, no more music. And I was given the option to either take a severance package or switch my entire reason and dream of going there from music to technology. I was like, no, I have to follow through with this dream. So I took the severance package. She ended up laying off everybody except for like a couple coordinators, and I went out on my own.
Word.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you went out on your own. So you're in LA doing your own thing.
Yeah.
No safety net.
Nothing.
So where did you land
savings,
next?
No, nothing. I hustled. Like, I literally hit up every contact I could think of. I was blessed to leave her agency with a couple of clients. I had one of the Shahs of Sunset, Shervin, who's one of my favorite people and clients I've ever had. I was able to represent one of the former Pussycat Dolls. Well, now she's back in, but Jessica Sutta.
Okay.
So I took those with me as I left. And a couple influencers in the dance community.
Word.
And so I was blessed in that sense that it wasn't starting from completely ground zero, but I knew that I don't know how long this is going to last. That's the hard part about contracts when you're on retainer.
Right.
You can build it into your contract, but most won't sign more than like a 3-month contract if they're new with you, until they see you prove yourself. So I knew I had to keep hustling these clients in case one of them left, because then I wouldn't be able to pay rent.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was the hustle that started afterwards that broke me into the record labels.
Word.
And networking. I can't stress that enough.
Oh yeah, you definitely got a network. That's the whole reason of being the plug. You know what I mean?
And it's exhausting. I mean, you think about, and I was younger then, but then or now, it's, you're working your day job or whatever you do, and then you're hustling for your dreams at night, trying to meet everybody you can meet. It gets exhausting, but you have to do it, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you don't have a steady paycheck coming in on salary or something like that. I feel like
constant grind for
you
sure.
do. You have to consistently grind. So that's why I say when you follow your dreams, follow them, but make sure that's your dream,
That's
because
what
you're gonna you're gonna have to a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of sacrifice. Definitely sacrifice my personal life on every level to get where I'm at now.
That's good.
How was living in LA?
It was cool. I like LA, but again, I fortunately and unfortunately had to immerse myself in what they call the Hollywood scene, because that's where my business was. I think outside of that scene, it's beautiful. It's amazing. The weather's always perfect. The beaches are great. Houses are amazing. But again, if you're not making the kind of money to live there, it's
Cost of living is
extremely
extreme.
the shock value of what I was paying for a 2-bedroom here to my like little box studio in North Hollywood. Yeah.
Drastic difference.
Yeah, I've been a humbling lifestyle change.
That's real. That's absolutely real.
Yeah.
So you've found yourself juggling clients in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You've pretty much, I would say, almost conquered the scene to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
You found your wings. You're out and about. So, what made you come back to Vegas? What's the reason for leaving LA and coming back to Vegas?
There's a few reasons. Well, one specifically, I have to obviously shout out the pandemic. We had it really rough in LA between the pandemics and the riots. For everything that was happening, with that, we were shut down. We were on curfews beginning at 3 o'clock at one point.
Yeah.
It just and mentally that just takes a toll on you when you're stuck in a house and you're told you can't leave or you might get arrested. And I literally watched it happen to somebody in front of my building.
Wow.
To, just a lot of scare tactics and antics that just LA County does to you. It was taking a toll between the pandemic and everything. So mentally, I was not in a great space there. And then the other part was that, again, honing in on my personal life, at some point I had to address the fact that I wasn't happy personally. I was killing it on the work side and doing what I needed to do and trying to grind, but personally I wasn't happy.
Right.
And I think at some point you do have to find that balance.
Absolutely.
Because, you can grind and hustle and make your money and everything, but being lonely at the top is real.
Very real.
And I'm still learning that. I'm still trying to figure out my balance between personal and work, because I would say 100% of the time I put work in front of everything. So I felt like I feel like coming back here, was a kind of the reset button for me, and I felt like this city allowed me to give that balance.
Absolutely.
So I hadn't been in the city in a few years, probably about 5 years, but full time. But I was watching everything that was going on, the Raiders coming in, and so I felt like. And another thing was, I know this city bounces back.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? From almost anything. I mean, we've had the biggest mass shooting here. We've had the pandemic. We've had the riots. We've had, the city's had a lot of things. And I think one thing I love about Las Vegas is its resilience.
Absolutely.
And it was made that way. I mean, we demolished hotels like they're nothing and put up a brand new one and let's restart all over again. Yep. So the city was built on that kind of resilience and keep going mentality. And I just felt like that's what I needed, both work and personally, to keep this situation going.
That's interesting. So obviously you mentioned the Raiders. We talk a lot about the Raiders in the past 2 episodes.
We love you.
Also, the city has taken on a new economy with marijuana and cannabis.
Yes.
And that happens to be a field that you're in. Ironically, we were talking about this earlier in the show. Got the green light going on.
The aesthetics for me.
Yeah, got to keep the aesthetics looking clean and green, we talked about this earlier in the show, and this is actually a lane that you're in.
Yes.
So not only are you in the entertainment industry still,
yes,
you also are in the cannabis industry.
For sure.
How did you find your way in that space?
Oh man, I got to think about that. Well, recreationally, I mean, I always was a supporter of the plant. I always felt like it was a great alternative for people that suffer from things like anxiety, the anxiety, stress, things like that. So I felt like it was good, and we had been proven that, as a treatment for cancer for years. So that was my affinity towards it from a personal standpoint, recreational. I ended up getting into it, I feel like somewhere in my other heart outside of music is social justice. Wrongful convictions, people that are locked up for nonviolent crimes. I mean, I could go on for days about that, and I won't, but that was part of it, was, bringing to the attention of, now we're legalizing it everywhere, but these people still have felonies on their records and things like that it's just ridiculous. It all needs to be expunged. whoever's still locked up for it needs to be released. So that was my original like passion into it, was the support of the plant from both sides. But then I just realized what a dope, pun intended, dope community it is.
Let's see what you did.
Always about that branding. But no, really though, what's that? Really though, it really is. Like there's like, when I'm thinking about a corporate brand, and they all are corporate brands,
right.
you know, I mean, Stizzy, all of them, Cookies, you know, Airgraph, they're all corporately ran real businesses. But there's just this sense of like, whether they use the plant or not, personally, the sense of like calm and like happiness in the industry.
Absolutely.
And I was like, I could see myself doing this full time because I enjoy literally being around those people.
Right.
I mean, I've met so many amazing people, most notably my business partner, who's Tammy. She's known as the cannabis cutie, but she's the educator, like in that space. She's an influencer, but on the education side.
Word.
So she's teaching everybody about the plant and why it's important. So that was really my original in that sense, was learning from her. And then we've kind of collaborated over the last year or so to integrate me more into the space. So I'm kind of learning from her and other people I've met along the way. But yeah, that was my first real intro into it. And now I'm just immersed from a personal standpoint.
See, I think that's super dope, pun intended.
I know, it's so easy to use it.
No, I think it's pretty cool though that you do, you know, social reform. You said social reform?
Social justice.
Social justice.
But yeah,
right.
I follow the criminal reform.
Criminal reform, and so So, and you're fighting for people that have those convictions on their record.
Yeah, I was blessed through social media to get connected with Jessica Jackson, who notably is kind of the one that's been, her and her partner have been teaching, Erin have been teaching Kim Kardashian law.
Word,
so that's her, that's how they've been, you know, touted, but they're way beyond that. I mean, these ladies are killing it when it comes to criminal reform legislation getting passed. They're amazing lawyers. But I was blessed enough just to start learning from her, and she was just very open to teaching me about her background in it and criminal reform. So I've just been learning from them over the last, you know, couple years. But that was kind of my integration into that space outside of partnering with Khalif Browder's lawyer.
Nice.
So, and they, Team Rock and Rock Nation had a huge tie into that documentary, but he was another one that solitary confinement out of Rikers, and unfortunately didn't make it due to suicide. After he was released, and wrongfully they tried to try him on stealing a backpack. It was ridiculous. So yeah, you end up just getting a passion for, I mean, if you care about humans, you know what I mean? You end up getting a passion about that kind of situation.
Real quick, because I mean, at the business side, I like to try to bring that into play with everybody we bring here, but I try to get our audience to understand how important it is to have adapted a mentor along the way. Like, and just how important that is to your long-term goals, having somebody who can kind of pave the way. Who was your mentor, and how, what form did they be able to apply to your life?
I've had a few mentors, because like I said, I'm in a few different spaces, so not one mentor across everything. But notably, I think early on in my career, it was Jermaine Hall, who used to oversee a lot of the content at BET, and now he started a whole new platform called Level, which is geared towards men of color out of the medium.com brand. So shout out to him. He's been a mentor for a long time. Daytwan Thomas, who's editor-in-chief of Vibe, long-time mentor. When I moved to LA to really get immersed on the music entertainment side, I connected with Candace Newman, who at the time was at Live Nation overseeing all the tours. So I felt like she was one to know, because she knew all the labels, she knew all the artists. She really took me under her wing to teach me about that. And now she's got her own like Live Live platform that is all about touring and teaching people of color how to even get into touring, because it's a very not equal color when it comes to touring. So she's really pushing for that story and narrative across touring. So it's amazing work she's doing. And then, like I said, Tammy for cannabis. So I've had a few along the way, but I touch base with them frequently. And I think it's important to, because again, especially if you're not in one lane, these people have their ear to the ground on everything 24/7 on their lane. So I always am touching base with them, you know, sometimes a few times a month, to get knowledge, get put up on game. a
No
sounding
pun
board.
intended.
Right, all pun intended. And as a sounding board, I feel like sometimes people get a little bit caught up in, you know, what they're doing. And sometimes it's just nice to have like a fresh pair of eyes on the stuff you're working on. So I'll always hit them up and be like, I know this isn't your thing, but like, what do you think about it? You know what I mean? You've been in music for this long, you know what I mean? How do you feel about this record or whatever, you know?
Right.
And people do that with me now, you know, even I get sent records all the time from different A&Rs and stuff like that. And they're like, they don't want me to do anything with it. They're just like, what do you think about it? How do you feel about this? You know? So I think that's important to always use the people around you as sounding boards and be open to them, because they're what's really going to make you who you are and make you versatile and, you know, push you further.
Right. Last thing I would like to know is, like, what would you want to give our audience? Obviously, our audience is learning about you, but like we're lending them game. So let's lend them some game right now. Let's tell them exactly, if you had some words of advice for our audience who wanted to jump into the space of being in television,
Social
being in
justice.
cannabis, all these things,
Criminal
give our
reform.
audience a way to pave their way.
I think one, get to know yourself, because I think that was a big one for me. Was, you know, a lot of industries can look amazing, and you might think that might be perfect for me or whatever, but I don't think you're really gonna know that until you kind of know who you are,
Right.
you know, and how you feel about certain things. So I would say get to know yourself first, but then after that, I think one thing I learned that I wish I had done, that I'm giving advice for, but I didn't do, was kind of make a plan a little bit. It can be flexible, it can be revolving, but kind of put something on paper, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I want to do this space, and who are the top, you know, people, thought leaders in this space, and who should I network with or get to know or set up coffee with the meetings, or things like that. I was doing it on the fly, one, because I had to, because I had gotten let go from my job, you know, resigned from my job, because she switched to different fields. But two, you know, I felt like I was always scrambling to the next thing in LA and trying to figure out everything on the fly. I think if I had sat down before I moved to LA and really mapped out, okay, you're going to LA, this is who you probably need to like link up with, this is who you need to know, and kind of mapped it out a little bit more, or thought about it a little bit more and wrote it down, I think I would have skipped a bunch of steps that took time and kind of wasted my time. Because I think the other thing too is you got to live in the moment. You got to act now, because the next person is coming up right behind you. So if you're not taking these opportunities and living your life and running for it and not being afraid of, you know, people telling you, oh, that's not how you're supposed to live your life, you're going to miss opportunities that you can, you know, really flourish in. So definitely keep going and keep living your life, but try to make a plan along the way so that you don't have to have as many pitfalls along your journey.
Right. So proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance, is what you're saying.
You just went real old school with that one.
I thought it was P to the fifth.
Nah.
Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Y'all sound like my grandma.
It's all right. We
It's
got
like,
you.
I feel like that's a grandma.
Anyway,
Does your grandma drink?
listen, speaking of drinks,
On that note, I'm gonna just sip my
mine's
drink.
is low, and Dria hyped up the Valentino drink. As
Oh,
well
y'all
as,
gotta try that. There's like gold flakes in it, and it's real. It's a piece,
Well, let me drink up mine now.
A piece.
and it's got tequila in it, and we know that you drink tequila.
Mm-hmm.
What about me?
I got nothing for you. Shirley Temples. We already covered this.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll catch y'all next week on the next episode of the Plug People
with
in
a
this
dope
game.
ass special guest. Like this is like
Yeah, this
real
is
guest
capping
this
off
time,
the,
y'all. I'm
capping
so
off the
excited.
whole segments. Yeah, we got a special guest in the building next week. Definitely got to tune in for that.
You
We-
gotta tune
Yeah,
in
we'll
for
definitely
that.
see y'all next week though.
Yes.
With the guest. So, peace.
Plug.
I am the plug. I am the plug.